Oh, I tell you what did happen. I'm going to take you to the park where my brother got hit by a car. He was hit hard. Testing. I'm about to take you on an immersive journey through my life's experiences, and you can learn from my life's experience. I was born and raised in Gravesend. That there, that's Gravesend Hospital. I was born here. My siblings were all born here. I've had this passion about property when I was about 19. But that's going to be further on in this journey. Interesting fact for you, in Gravesend, there are more Sikhs, and I guess they came here as well, Punjabi Sikhs. This is one of the largest Sikh temples in the whole of the UK, and it was the locals that invested and put this together. And no, it's not just for the Sikhs. The doors are open to everyone. They've got grounds, they've got teachings, they've got all sorts, and the best bit is they've got free food. If you are ever coming to Gravesend and you want to visit a place, come to the Gravesend Gurdwara. So this is Bentley Street. This is the area that I grew in, and I've returned here so many times because I've got so many memories here. And I lived in one of these terraced houses. I have a feeling, in fact, I've never brought my mum back here for her to tell me, but I have a feeling that it is that little red brick one in the middle. Yes, I arrived in one of these terraced houses as a child, and this was my parents' first house. And it's funny because my mum says that you were the first one as child number 3 that took us to our own home, and they bought it with a mortgage. So my predominant period of growing was in this house, and then from here we went to my parents' first business. Dad lived here, worked in a local factory. Mum, she lived here, worked, I think, in a local factory, but factory work was really the kind of work that they had to do because there was a paper mill locally. That's what they did. In fact, I do remember because my mum said that the first job that she got coming into this country was in a factory, and it was only because the immigrants collaborated and helped and supported one another, and she had a great friend who helped look after the children while she went to work, and then they switched over. And my older sister had a large part to play with, like helping out as well and making sure that we were looked after while mum and dad went out to work. And that was the life of an immigrant family in the UK back in the late 60s. So that's it, Bentley Street, born here. Let's now go to my parents' first business. And the reason I'm taking you there is, how is it that I became a businesswoman? See exactly what I used to get up to. Now, this is history. Gravesend has actually got a lot of history. Why is it called Gravesend? Back in the day when there was the plague, this is the end of the graves of the plague. Now, there's a fact, I might be wrong with this fact, but the fact is that Gravesend has the highest temperature generally across the whole of the country. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that when the bodies were buried under this ground, the earth, the soil is so rich. We've got extra heat from the sun. We get the heat from the soil as well. So we get that extra bit of 2 degrees compared to the rest of the country. So, right, people come down here to walk the dogs. There's a beautiful view, and I'm going to show you what we used to do in Gravesend Prom. There's a whole load of conkers up here. These are conkers, guys, right? You get them out, you screw a hole through, you put some string through, and then you hold them like this, and you swing, and you hit each other's conker, and the winner is the one that has the strongest conker. Now, there's a history here, something to do with war, I guess, because you've got all of this old... Look at this, you've got the Thames Defence Heritage there. There's probably a lot of information going on in there, so pay a visit, take a little trip down into some history. Okay, look, we've got a bandstand and this green area here, and often this space is now used for events. We did our Eid prayers here, which is phenomenal to see that community has grown and become so welcoming. Gravesend is so diverse, it's amazing. There's ethnicities from absolutely everywhere. So Gravesend was and still is a location where everybody comes and gathers. They have parties in the park here. And another thing, when the government has got, or the local authority has got some funding, they do the fireworks here out on the river, which I have to say is spectacular. Right, I'm going to take you to my little ice cream shop that I used to go to. We'd go to get an ice cream, get a cup of tea if mum was with us, and then we'd sit, kids would play, and we'd have a little bit of time out having some fun. And here you can see the diversity in action, because predominantly it was Pakistani, it was Indian communities, but it's diversified. And you can see how everyone is just enjoying each other's presence and company, and you can come and you can do, and nobody complains. Everybody's enjoying themselves. Kids are playing, parents are playing. You got the Sikhs down there, you got the Africans over here, and everyone's welcoming to it. And that's what I love about Gravesend. So it's just so nostalgic, isn't it? It's just so beautiful to just be raw, natural, and enjoy yourselves. This is beautiful, guys. This is so cute and quirky. It's just like an old beachside style. You know, that old feeling, it's still here, which is so enjoyable. They've held on to those old values, and I really love that, because it just keeps you in that scene of originality compared to where everything is going now. Oh my God, this is so nostalgic. Me and my sisters used to have Eccles cakes. Who remembers the old Eccles cakes? Delicious. They're raisins. It's like a pastry on the outside and raisins on the inside, but that's what we used to have when we were growing up. Oh, I tell you what did happen when I was younger. It wasn't me. I think it was my brother. But when the tide is out, there's a sludge and a mud, and he got stuck in the mud, and I had to go back to grab the parents, because we needed to try and pull him out, because once you're there, you are stuck. You are not moving because it's so slippery. It's not sinking, thank God, but we were so scared. We ran home quickly. Somebody stayed with him, and we pulled him out of the mud eventually. Right, so my next stop is going to be a business that my mum and my dad ran together. It's not far from here, but there's something really important that happened at that shop that resulted in my mum having to close down the business, and it was a really difficult time for her. My dad was working in the shop, but he was also working in the factory, and mum was running the shop with her 6 kids. So that is the next part of my content. Do you know what? For years to come, after we moved from Bentley Street over to Old Road East, we used to come back here all the time. It's like you have an attachment to an area. Even when we moved completely from Gravesend to the Medway towns, we still came back. And now to be back here, a good 40 years later, I still feel the same. I still love it. It just feels like home. Let's just say I was made in Gravesend. Even though we left, I came back. And there's a big reason for it, actually. And wait for it, it's coming. Interesting fact for you, across the river we have Tilbury, Dagenham, Essex. And they've got a ferry that crosses the river just here. And I've never, ever been on it. But if you want to, it's for passengers only. And actually, it's probably a fun ride. Just take a trip across the Thames. Here, you've got a really beautiful spot. You know, the beauty is when you're growing up as a kid, it's nice to have some outside space that you can just run around and play in. And I think that's what's made me the person I am today, because I don't have fears. I'm not scared of going places. And I value that freedom because it was embedded in me from an age to be able to do and go and be, which kids don't have today. Hey, over there, beyond those fences, if you can see that, there used to be a public swimming pool, and I can't believe how they took it away and they made it into a green, which is nice, but wouldn't it have been great if there was a pool there for everyone to go out and enjoy, especially in the summer months. These are the old original buildings, and you see that number 10, there used to be a little old lady who used to sit there outside in her chair, and as kids we were polite, we were kind, and we always asked if she needed any help or if she needed us to run to the shops to get her anything. That's the kind of thing that we would do as kids. And I'm thinking back to the age as well, and kids the way they are today. Right, my next stop is that way because we moved. We left Bentley Street and we went to the shop that my parents had their business in. We are now at the shop. See that building over there, the grey one? That is where I grew up. So we moved from Bentley Street to this shop, and this was my parents' first business. My mother decided that she would open a conventional convenience store, but dedicated to Asian spices, rices, flours, and all of those things that you couldn't get unless you went further up towards East London. So she opened it here. Above, we all lived. Below, the shop was running. Above, there was a 2-bedroom flat. So my mother and father, plus 6 kids, we all lived in. You came down the stairs and there was a little courtyard. And in that courtyard, we had our first dog called Jackie. Apparently, my mum used to find me inside the kennel often. But here's a top secret that I'm going to share with you. I was actually quite a shy individual. I wasn't the kind of person to be confident and open and outspoken the way that I am today. When we had visitors, I used to hide. I would hide under the bed and wait until they disappeared. I would corner myself underneath the bed and into the corner. As you can see, it's a really busy spot, and there were some serious tragedies that occurred here that led them to close that business down. So I've got some fabulous memories here, some great ones. My parents kept chickens in the basement, and we used to have eggs. We used to pluck them. And I mean, I don't even know if that's legal today, but we used to halalify them, and we used to cook them, pluck them. I remember mum doing all of that. Right, now listen to this, yeah? Up there you can see some stairs, right? And those stairs, my sister was a sleepwalker. She actually walked out to those stairs. And the girl that lived in, I believe, that house, and if you're watching, I'm so glad you are, because she shouted out to my sister and saved her from rolling down that metal staircase. So the memories here were phenomenal. They were great. My parents did toys at Christmas, and I remember coming down to those toys, and they had sweets, and there were local people who became friends and shop. The reason why they shut down such a lucrative business, it was a hotspot, could quite easily have become a huge chain of convenience stores that my mother headed and my father did. Now, let me just tell you this. My dad had a Volvo. We used to park it at the front, and they had a transit van because they used to do deliveries. She would finish her shift here with her 6 kids, feeding them, washing, running the shop, all single-handedly. But then the difficulty struck because you see this busy road? 3 of her children got hurt. Out of the 6, 3. I'm going to take you to the park where my brother got hit by a car, and he just ran across the road. He was a kid at the time, but he fractured almost every single bone in his body. It was a seriously difficult time for my mum. He got hit by a car, and that in itself was the first experience of what she lost due to being engrossed in work. Because it is a compromise, guys. It's not easy, especially when you've got that many kids and you're on your own. Right, so the second one that hit, you see those traffic lights over that side? My sister crossed over that road there, and she got hit by a car. And it happened while my mum was in the shop and my sister was coming out to head that direction to our primary school, which was Ripon Road. My mum didn't even know that it occurred. She didn't even know that it was her own child that got hit by the car. The guy picked my sister up and took her to hospital, and somehow, I guess, either he took her to hospital and then he brought her back, but she didn't even know about it, and that hit her hugely. My younger brother was only 2, and they were outside, and because they were together at the time, you know. But the car was parked outside the front of the shop, and he ran across the road and back again. Luckily didn't get hit by a car, and that was it. Then my mother drew the line and she said, I am closing down this business because I cannot be here and let anything happen to my other 3 kids, or even these children, to stand to lose having one of her kids, because she was so engrossed in business, was the decision that she had to make. So this is another busy, busy road. It's a main stretch out of Gravesend. And what he did was, we came out of the park, and he was only little. We were all together. And on that brow there, literally, he ran across the road, but he got hit by a car. And the speed, even if you're doing 20 miles an hour, was sufficient enough to impact him. He was hit, and he was hit hard. He had a tear under his eye, which he has a scar for today. And they are saying that he is so lucky to be alive. And that, my friends, is the brother that I have got. That's a black belt jiu-jitsu teacher who is at the optimum of health and fitness, mashallah, and strong. But he came out of death's door. That's all I can say. Fortunately, somebody opposite, English guy, came out, helped, and he was taken to hospital. And then we ran home and told mum. And then that was that story. It was tragic. It was sad. It was a really difficult time in mum's life. She decided that she was going to move, but she sold the business because she wanted to put her attention into the kids. And that is where the next chapter begins, where we moved to Strood. 15 to 20 minutes drive away from Gravesend, away from all of those friends and all of those, the first impact and life that was built here in Gravesend. We had to leave all of that, leave all of our friends and go for this house. In between, I'll tell you that I changed schools a fair amount. I went to Rooten Road and I went to Cecil Road Primary School, because in order to get to Rooten Road, you had to cross a few roads. And that's why my mum said, no, we're changing schools. So she changed one that was walking through these parks, in fact, to get to Cecil Road School. Changed school there and then changed schools again. Strood. Now you can see how much we have already done. And I am still in primary school. I'm definitely aged 8 or 9 because I did a couple of years in St Mary's before I hit secondary. So the next chapter is all about what I did in the Medway towns. And I can tell you, there's a lot that happened there that made me who I am today, because that chapter includes the knowledge, the growth, the experiences that I gained while over there that brought me back to Gravesend. But there's a twist, because when I was living in Strood, even though a lot of my career path happened in Strood and the Medway towns, I did start my working journey back in Gravesend because of those connections. My first job was in Gravesend, but we're going to come to that in the next bits. Keep watching.